Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L. the Parent Whisperer, and today I have an amazing lady. Her name is Barbara Harrod. Did I say that right, Barb?
Herod, yes.
Harrod. Perfect. And I've had a conversation with her. I loved how she shows up in the world and what she does. So I decided to bring her here, have her share her message so that you can understand what she does, and then we'll go from there. So thank you for being here with us. And Barbara, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to do what you do and why you're passionate about this topic, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Dr. L. I appreciate the invite, and I was very excited to come on and speak to you and, just to share some of the things that I'm doing and to get to know you. I'm just real passionate about, helping people. And so that's one of my drives. And so just to give just a bit of information about myself. I am I'm a native Texan, of course. I live here in El Paso, Texas, and I have been, pretty much in the realm of education for pretty much all of my career. And so, but before I got to all of that, of course, I'm a mother, a grandmother, and a great grandmother. So I share the trifecta there. And as you hear me speak, you'll hear me talk about my triad. I always feel like I'm in a triad. I don't know why, but it just seems that that's what happens. So as I started out my career, I started out I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian, of course, but I don't like blood. So I think that kind of knocked me out of the box. And so I just went to hopefully the next best thing, which was speech therapy. And I thought I was going to be this great speech therapist for the rest of my career and got derailed off of that. And so I landed in special ed. And I took on that role just wholeheartedly. And I was a special ed teacher for 27 years out in the Canutillo Independent School District, elementary, and absolutely loved it. Did not know that that was my passion until I got into it. And I just love working with the children. I know that I've heard some horror stories about parents, but I absolutely love my parents. And because without the parents, I wouldn't have the children. So I can't see separating one from the other. And I did that, with the passion of always trying to be innovative and bringing new ideas to the classroom and not follow the same old, these children can't do anything. So therefore you just need to keep them out of sight, out of mind. And that was never something I was going to do. I always told my children, you can do anything that you wanted to do. And it just requires a little bit more effort on our part. And that's pretty much what how I ran my room and how I work with them. Well, going on down that career, I retired from that in 2012. I had given it pretty much my all, and even my children's all. And they were just like, Mom, really? And so I just decided that it was time for me to, step aside and let someone else take the reins. And, so I went to that. I stayed out of teaching for just a little while, and then I started missing it. And I just spoke it in the atmosphere one day that I would like to go back into teaching, just not into the public schools. But I wanted to continue on with my teaching career. So therefore, I just know it was God's divine. I ran into a friend, and I started talking to her and asking what she's doing. She says she's working at the college. And so therefore, she said, I think we're looking for someone and I can get you in. And I was like, really? And from there, I am now working at the community college. I'm an adjunct professor, and I also teach teachers to be teachers. And so I teach various courses, special ed courses, which I absolutely love. So I teach them how to treat my children. I truly believe that if you are passionate about what you are doing, you're going to bring your all to it. And so those are some of the things that I teach whenever, I have the opportunity to work with young teachers wanting to get out there into the classroom. So that's some of the things that I do there. And I've been doing that for about 6 years now. So I don't think I'll ever get away from educating. I think that's just in our blood.
Awesome.
And so,
I was just going to say thank you for what you do. I know that it is not easy work, and I know that more and more kids are falling on the spectrum. I myself, as you know, have ADHD before there was a diagnosis for it.
yes,
Uh,
sir.
and so I totally get this. And at the same time, some of our genius next generation is in that group.
Yes, they
And if
are.
it wasn't for the work of folks like yourself, we would lose a lot of talent in the process, basically. So I really,
That's right.
really appreciate you doing that. So, Barb, how, like, because obviously you have moved away from it and come back to it. So what is it that you, because I also know that you deal with financial wellness. So how did
Yes.
that come about with with it? Do you happen to have ADHD?
I believe I do. It's just never been diagnosed, but I tell everyone, yes, I am on the spectrum. I'm on everything. And they always just kind of chuckle and yeah, they believe me. So after being in the education field, and a friend came along and they were saying, because you are always out there working and educating people, why don't you come and do insurance with us? Because people need I guess your friendliness. You are not going to steer people wrong because you have a heart for helping them. And I was just like, really? I don't know. I don't think that's my field. I don't think I can do that. And but if you give me a challenge, I know that's what we say with our children. They need a challenge. And so when you give me a challenge, I pretty much will rise to the occasion. It may take me a while, but I'm going to get there. And that's what I used to tell my students. I said, we can get there. It just may take us a minute, but it's okay. And so I went into the field of insurance,
Mhm.
and I did that for a little while, probably about 2 years before I came into contact with another friend that we had worked prior. And he was saying, I'm starting a new program and it's called Teachers Pension. And
Mm.
I'm just like, what, really? And I said, you're going to be working with teachers? And he says, yes. And I said, sign me up. I'm there. I absolutely love talking to my teachers and working with them. So I'm all in it. And I signed up with Teachers Pension, which is, retirement, being a retirement specialist, making sure that they can retire comfortably. And that was just something that just was it felt like it was part of me. And I said, I've been doing that for like 3 years now, and I absolutely love it. So taking education, being in the classroom and, upper grades, lower grades, whatever, I'm in the classroom. This is where my triad comes in at. So on one end, I have education. That's one of my points of my triangle.
Mhm.
On the other side of the triangle, I have the two businesses that I work with, which is My Econ and Teachers Pension. Both of them are focusing on building financial stewardship. And so I'm just like, okay, so I can marry education with the businesses that I have, that is protection, helping people with protection, helping people learn financial strategies and things of how to keep themselves safe. And so just taking those ideas and everything that I've learned over the years, I wanted to share them in a workshop. And so back in April, because of pandemic and everything that was shut down, and I just decided I wanted to do some workshops, and I started putting workshops on and inviting my family and friends, and now it's business associates. And what I try to do is what I'm doing is bringing everyday people together and helping them on their financial road, their financial path. Where do you want to be? I want all of us going in the direction to where we are not dependent upon government. We are not dependent on a 9 to 5. If that's not something you want to do, let's find some alternative routes to that. And so that's what I do with my workshops. I bring on professionals and experts that come and speak. I create topics every month. And the topic that we're on for the month of August is multi-level marketing, which is money, leveraging money. And so I talk to them about
the details
how
of
to leverage.
right, before you go into the details of what you do in the company,
Mhm.
tell me a little bit about why you think this topic is important as far as the finances, because you were in education, and then this is something that seems to be completely on a different path, right? And you kind of mentioned the 9 to 5. You did mention some of the stuff about, relying on the government. So I understand those. In your experience, uh, obviously this is an important thing, and what happens, what are the biggest challenges that you see working with people, whether it's teachers, whether it's families, when it comes to finances, and then how do we go about fixing those?
Basically, what I put down when I came to that, talking about the challenges, and this is not to offend, because I basically am preaching to the choir, which I am the choir. So when I say a challenge, this is my view of sometimes the things that I'm facing. So I see them as a challenge. Number one that I see is not dreaming big enough. Just, believing that you have to settle for whatever is happening in your life, and you can't step outside of that. So I see, once I started these workshops and everything, I started to see people are, not dreaming big enough. And that was one of the challenges I saw with what I'm delivering or working towards delivering to them. The other challenge that I saw is that, or that I'm seeing, is not taking action. You may have a great concept or a great idea, but if you don't take action on it, it's just a great idea that you may have just came across something that you can impact the world with, but because you are not dreaming big enough, you won't take action on it. It's, and so what I do through the workshops is hopefully giving you that inspiration that I can do this. I can step outside of this comfort zone, and I can, manifest something that I probably can impact the world with. But will I take action on it, or will I be afraid? And getting people out of that stage of being fearful, fearful that if I take this risk and it doesn't work, then what am I going to do?
Right.
Well, if you take the risk and it doesn't work, that was just a learning. That was just something to learn. And you learn from that, and then you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and let's move forward. Let's try it another way. And so those are some of the things that I see are challenges, as, just people being afraid to take that next step to having their own financial freedom.
Okay, that's well. Now I know that part of that is because of the habits and
Habits.
the things that we get accustomed to and are comfortable with in our day-to-day routines, right?
Yes.
And then, of course, if you want to make the changes that you're describing, we need to also be willing to change a little bit. So, what are some of the challenges that you find people struggle with when they're trying to make the challenges that they realize what you just described, and they're like, you know what? She's right. I need to do this. And they go to do it, and then they kind of stumble upon some roadblocks. So what are typically those kind of
The
challenges?
obstacles, yes. So what I like to do is to have them go through step-by-step process. And I want to be that guide that helps them to, if you decide you are coming into this business, then we are going to set up a plan for this business to be successful. So all of the things that we are talking about on the workshops, and all of the things that we are showing you, the steps, the tricks, the tips, all of those things like that, we want you to use those in your process. So when you first get started, let's see what are the things that will cause maybe some obstacles to arise. And when they arise, let's talk about your adversity quotient, your AQ. So let's talk about that and find out what are some ways we can get around that. And then we take it from there, because you have to know that this is something that you can do. And we don't want to use, I guess, old methods. We want to come into the new age and use new methods. That's why technology is out there. That's why social media is out there. And so what I like to do when people come aboard on my team is we will take it step by step. And I'm going to guide and direct until you can take off yourself, because I want you to be the fisher. I don't want to keep providing you the fish.
Right.
And so we will take it step by step, and we will go through the obstacles. When you come up on an obstacle, then we will have conversations. What are some things that we can do to overcome that? And that's how I like to, or that's the way I will lead my team.
Okay. So, Barbara, what are some of the tips and secrets that you have for our audience members watching this, where they can take action today and start making a difference, start turning things around and heading in the right direction? What are some of the tips and secrets you have for them that they can jump on after this call?
Well, the first thing is join us on Mondays. Join us on Mondays for our workshops. We bring some great professionals on to give you the insights into some of the things that you can do. Also, learning how to income shift. That is something that I am planning to create a class around, or create a workshop around, is income shifting. Some of the things that you can do right now to help yourself is to go and check your W-4. Okay. Are you overpaying the government in your taxes? And if you don't know how to do that, you can get in touch with me and I can help walk you through that. But check your W-4 to see if you are overpaying in taxes. I want to save you money so that you can invest your money wisely. And not just say, well, I'm just going to buy another trinket or another, big television or whatever you want to say. We want to become investors. And I also was teaching back in June about the money quadrant. And I'm not sure, Dr. L, your money quadrant. Do you have a money quadrant?
Well, I'm a B and an I, basically.
There you go. All right. I like it. Yes. And so we were teaching all about the money quadrant and some of the things that we wanted, to do to get from being an employee to going into being a self-employed, and then working our way over to that right side of that quadrant, being big business and investing. And so, yeah, those are the things that we teach, all kinds of tips and tricks, and to help them know that they can navigate that quadrant and they don't have to stay where they are.
Okay.
So
Awesome. Very cool. Do you have programs for children?
I don't specifically have a program in place yet for children. I would love to put one in place. In July, I did do Money and Children, but it was geared mostly to having them think about how is money going to be, important in your life.
Right.
And we went through a whole little 4 Mondays talking about different aspects of money. We started off with just a little round table talking about, what is money and how do you use it? And then can you make it be turned into generational? Can you make money turn into a generational thing? So we talked about that. And then we went into, how thinking like a millionaire. You got to have that millionaire focus if you are planning to, make the impact that you think you want to make in the world. So I taught them all about what millionaires do. And then we talked about, just different aspects of talking about finances for young people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Awesome. Very cool. So Barb, how can people find out more about you and connect with you? You mentioned your meeting, so that was one of them, the workshop. But yeah, tell us a little bit about how people can work.
I have a business page, which is www.bluecrownbuilders.com.
We'll be sure to put that in the.
And I will put that in the chat. Yes, and that is, just a way that you can kind of go and find out a little bit of how I came up with the name and what I try to, what I aspire to do, which is to build. I like to build people's, sorry about that. My typing leads a little bit to be desired here.
All right, so I'll make sure that we put those in the chat box for our audience members, so that be sure to check Barbara's site out and take advantage of what she's offering for you guys. Barbara, any final words of wisdom before we finish?
Well, just when you are looking to, step outside of your box, and make it a challenge to yourself that you want to aspire to do more than create someone else's wealth. You need to think of your family and how can you build generational wealth for them. So when you are looking at various companies or businesses to get into or to take up, make sure it's something that you enjoy. That a lot of times can trip people up, is that you hear a lot of, I guess a lot of flash and dash and, oh, this is going to do this for you, this is going to make you rich overnight. I would shy away from anything that says you can get rich quick, because everything in finances is a process. It's just like weight loss. It's just like learning to eat better, being a person who can study better in school. Everything is a process, and things are not going to happen overnight. No matter how much you get someone saying those things,
Yeah.
You need to look inside yourself and know and say, you know, did I get my education overnight?
Yeah.
I think I had to go through several years of school, did I not?
That's
You know,
well
did
said.
I,
Exactly.
yeah, did I get my home? Did I get my, you know, everything took a process in order for you to arrive at it. So if that's true, then that is the way you need to approach improving your finances, improving your how you want to leave that legacy to your family. It's a process, and we all need to go through it and
I
find something that you love.
I always talk about how there's always these exceptions and these fairy tales, but the majority of us, if you are going for that lottery ticket, if you're going for that fairy tale, what ends up happening is you put yourself at risk, your family, and possibly your legacy at risk,
Exactly.
because what you're giving up for what you might get is just too big of a risk for too small of a chance of a reward. So
Exactly.
that assessment becomes actually a big part of the learning process. And the sooner you learn that, the faster you get to actually go ahead and move forward and go to the next step, right? So
Exactly.
awesome. Thank you, Barbara. I really appreciate you being here,
Thank
guys.
you.
Make sure that you check the description box. If you haven't already done so, click subscribe and get notified with the latest from the channel and the experts that we bring over here for you. We
Yes.
appreciate your time for being here. Barb, I really appreciate you being here. I think your mission is very important, and I wish you lots of success. And until later, take care and be safe. Cheers.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, bye.
Have a great day.